So I'm visiting the town of Elizabethton, Tennessee right now, just passing through. And I have discovered that there are some pretty spooky things in this town. It was founded in 1776, so there are plenty of ghostly stories to tell, but only a few that I will tell today. So we're going to take a drive around and look at the locations and see what kind of spooky, scary things you can find here in Elizabethton, Tennessee. We're at the Birchfield Cemetery, located and buried in the mountains. This tale is about a woman named Delinda, and Delinda was the town prostitute in the 1900s. She was hated by many, many women in the town because she would partake in things with other men, and the women's men. She spent a lot of time with them, and the women hated her for that. So one night, the women of the town decided to invite her to a beautiful festive night. When she joined them, they attacked her, tarred and feathered her, and left her for dead. They couldn't stand the fact that Delinda spent all this time with their men, yet they were treated as if they weren't anything because Delinda had all the fun and they had to stay home and, well, do their womanly duties, right? So Delinda is known to be buried here at Birchfield Cemetery in Roan Mountain. What is the significance of this story? Folklore tells the stories that when you drive by at night, sometimes you'll feel a thump on the back of your trunk. They've also seen a woman, a ghostly figure in the middle of the road, looking as if she is trying to get a ride. There have been different testimonials of this happening, of people driving by, or they hear a thump or a sound as if she's trying to leave the cemetery that night. Another tale says that if you throw any money up in the air here, I have a penny in my hand, if you throw it up into the air, it won't return back to the ground. And they say that Delinda is taking the money because she's trying to buy her way out of here. So I'm going to take this penny and throw it up in the air and see if it comes back down. Let's see if this actually is true. I guess a penny is not enough money for Delinda. You can come visit this graveyard. It's a beautiful cemetery. There's a lot of history here. It's the Birchfield Cemetery, and Delinda is known to be buried here. Around the grave site, I accidentally slipped on, it caught my foot, and I think this might be where her grave is. May she rest in peace. This is the story of Gwendolyn's house. Behind me, this is the remaining part of the house. If you go further up, back around, which is on private property, so I would not recommend doing that, you can see there's more of the house up further, and it was burnt down a few years back. Gwendolyn's house was built in the 1900s. And it's haunted by the ghost of a woman seen standing in the windows, looks out across the valley. Then the spirit of a black dog has been reported to be seen running throughout the hallways of the home and in the basement. And from what I was told, that this part of the house here is the basement. So I know people have come here and wanted to see what was going on, if they could feel any eerie presence. Something just touched my shoulder. I'm gonna make this quick so I can move on to the next story. But if you come here to Elizabethton, parts of the house still remain here, but it is known to have paranormal activity. You can find that on some other YouTube videos. Tell you not to go back into the house because there's snakes that are coiled up on the floors. If Gwendolyn doesn't scare you, then the snakes will definitely scare you. I'm gonna read a few things that people wrote about Gwendolyn's house at 3 a.m. The house was gone. Some parts remain. Very creepy noises. You can tell you're not here alone. So I'll leave that up to you, whether you believe Gwendolyn still haunts this area or she has moved on, since the house has since burned down. So this is the haunting of the Siam Steel Bridge, although now the Siam Steel Bridge is no longer located here. It has been reconstructed into a concrete bridge. The reason for that is because it was deemed unsafe to be traveling over, and it was dilapidated, falling apart, so they took it down and reconstructed it. In 1941, recently after the construction of the Siam Steel Bridge, this is the story of Lover's Lane. A young couple was spending time together on the bridge, and they were brutally attacked by a vagrant. They were underneath the bridge, as I am right now, spending a beautiful romantic evening together, and suddenly a vagrant came out and killed them. The young lady was stabbed to death, and the young man was sent to the hospital, where he later passed and unfortunately didn't make it. According to history and looking back on this, police spent years and years looking for the person that had killed them, but to no avail. They didn't find the guy. Then in 1992, a book was written called Haints, Witches, and Boogers, Tales from Upper East Tennessee. So on July 18th, 1977, this man stated that around 1:42 a.m. he had called the police in a panic. He stated that he was driving over the steel bridge when the passenger side door flew wide open, then slammed shut. He slammed on his brakes and noticed an indentation in the passenger's seat, as if someone were sitting there. He then caught a glimpse in his mirror of a dark figure that appeared to be wearing a dark cloak and hood. He said that it appeared to be inching closer to the car, but it didn't look like it was walking. He stated at that point he got out of the car and nothing was there. So he was driving over the bridge and he was spooked by a cloaked man wearing all black, all dark behind his vehicle, and it looked like somebody had been sitting in his passenger seat, because back then in the vehicles they were made out of a certain material to where you'd sit down, you could actually see that somebody was sitting there. He jumped out of his vehicle and he looked around and there was nobody there. He got really startled, and that's when he called the sheriffs and let them know that he had seen some weird paranormal activity going on near the steel bridge. So in this area, there was a murder in the 1940s, and then there was a spooky, creepy, hooded-looking man in the vehicle and freaked the man out. Looks like this area has some pretty spooky paranormal activity going on. Maybe it's another one of those things, if you're driving over this bridge on Halloween at midnight, you might see something very similar to what that man had seen. So I hope you enjoyed my spooky season stories for Halloween season. It is very cold out here in Tennessee in the valley, and I'm going to head back over to the camping ground where I'm staying. So thank you so much for coming to this video and watching. Please remember to hit subscribe and like with your thumb or finger. Make sure to subscribe and like to this channel if you want to see more content. I do travel vlogs, I do scary story vlogs, I do prepper vlogs, all types of things, and also vlogs on keeping your vibrations high in a good vibrational state. because that is what keeps us happy and in a good state of mind. I hope that you enjoy this Halloween season, 2021. There may be very spooky things happening in your town. Please leave some stories below of things that go on in your town that are hauntings or paranormal activity that you have encountered or know of in your city or town. Thank you so much for coming to this vlog. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.